Hopefully it's live. Well, hello everybody. It's nice to have you along. We are just busy sorting out a few technical issues, so to speak. And of course, for those of you that have just joined us, on the line here with me now is, of course, Paddy van Niekerk. Paddy is going to be talking to us tonight about the NBC, the National Baseball Championships, that is, of course, coming up in starting on the 1st of April in Gauteng, in Boksburg, at the Boksburg Cardinals. Paddy, nice to see you on the line. Well, let's hang on. Let's just get Paddy on the show with us. There we go. Paddy, nice to see you.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Paddy, so we're going to be cutting back and forth a little bit. Just tell us a little bit, for those that have just joined us, what is the NBC? How long has it been going on?
Okay, so basically NBC is our National Baseball Championship, which gets held once a year. Goes on, I can't give you exact amount of years that it's been going on for, but yeah, it goes back way before my time. And I've been around for the best part of good old 18 to 20 years. So yeah, it's a very old tournament. It's basically a tournament where we get all the provinces selecting sides to compete for the national championship of the year. And it's a tournament where South African baseball get the opportunity to see the best of the best competing against each other. And it gives us the opportunity to select a squad of players that can go represent the country.
So, Paddy, obviously, players and teams coming from all over the country, all the different provinces.
Yeah, we basically we encourage all the provinces to send sides down. The demographics of baseball has changed dramatically over the years. Obviously, we lost a lot of numbers, and we're on a building phase at the moment to get more players back into the game. So yeah, we obviously districts make up the provinces. Ideally, we would like a provincial tournament, but we've actually invited districts to even send sides down this year, just that we can get the required amount of teams competing in the competition.
Paddy, so let's just take a look at. I mean, we've in fact spoken. We spoke to John O'Fillion last week from Mandela Bay. Mandela Bay, Eastern Cape. The guys are obviously looking to make a splash. They've got a promotion then this year into First Division. Maybe give us a rundown of the different categories at the NBC.
So you've got your A division, you got your B division. We're talking seniors now. A division, B division.
Yeah.
And what actually happens is you have, depending on the amount of sides that actually enter the tournament, you make up a tournament for a B division or A division.
So,
and the stand,
boys and girls and youth and so on?
boys and girls and youth, we're not in a fortunate position where we can actually break those divisions up.
Right.
In the past week, we could actually categorize them and have them broken down. But depending on the amount of sides, if a province sends an A or B side, we do break them down into A or B divisions in the junior leagues as well. But predominantly, what we try and do is just fill up the categories.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we want to see the best baseball played over the duration of the tournament. So we want strength on strength. We don't want to have a side bring a side down to tournament and then get slaughtered by an A division side.
Yeah.
So we do try and categorize them into A and B division pools, so that we can have the best teams competing against each other. And the standing rule is, if you compete in a B division and you've got a side strong enough that can compete in the A division, we like to promote you, so to speak, the following year into the A division.
So my understanding is under 10s, under 12s, under 15s, under 18s, under 23s, and seniors, and you got a junior women's side, senior women's side. I mean, it's a full house of different squads.
Yeah, look, this year we're very fortunate. Currently, I think we have 40 sides registered throughout the tournament.
So far.
So far,
yeah.
We obviously are hoping, and closer to the time, we've still got about 37 odd days before the start of the tournament, if I'm not mistaken. So closer towards the start of the actual tournament, you get a lot more sides that will enter.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because a lot of the provinces and districts are obviously struggling with the funding of getting the sides down to Gauteng to actually compete in this. So a lot of it hinges on whether they can raise the funds to get the sides down. You've got to understand that it obviously takes a lot of funding with regards to accommodation, transportation, feeding the players while they're on tournament. So there's a lot of funding and prep work that goes into this. And unfortunately, if you haven't got the funding back in the sides, it's very difficult for them to commit at an early stage. So a lot of the sides, a lot of the districts do obviously fundraise as much as they can right up to the last minute, so to speak.
So just going to our live chat, and I'm hoping that we're going to have a few more folks on the live chat, because I'm going to start speaking to you now as also tournament director of the National Baseball Champs. But we got to just give a shout out to Renee Barties, regular, always on the show with us. And Renee says, "Good evening, JP. Missed you guys last week." Yep, Renee, unfortunately we had some technical challenges, but we will load last week's show for you shortly, and then you'll be able to catch up with John O'Follion and, of course, America Juma. And Clifton Barnes joins us again. Says, "Good evening to you, JP, and to the Vice President." So, Paddy, you got a little bit of a shout out there from the Free State and from the Eastern Cape. So,
evening, guys.
Yeah, started to draw a bit of a following, but let's talk about that quickly. You just mentioned the fact. I mean, there's going to be probably in excess of 1,000 participants playing over 11 days, starting on the 1st of April. There's a lot of logistics and planning that goes around this. When I was at the NBC with you guys in Cape Town at Boksburg Baseball Club in 2022, it's like you had a full-on command center there of scorers and umpires and officials, caterers. It's an enormous setup.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of planning that goes to a tournament of this stature. I was fortunate enough to attend the meeting of the LSC that's for this current NBC 2 nights ago. I actually attended their meeting just to find out where they're at and what they're doing and how their planning is actually going. And I was pleasantly, wouldn't say surprised, but I was humbled by the fact that they've got such a strong support base at Boksburg Cardinals this year. And I walked away from the meeting feeling very comfortable that we are actually going to have an amazing tournament. They've really gone long lengths to actually plan and to make sure that we bring the baseball community together over 11 days, and hopefully try and give them a spectacle of note. Hopefully there'll be some good baseball played. We get the fans down, get the spectators down, and ultimately grow the game. They really have gone out of their way to make sure that all the bases are covered, so to speak.
Literally all the bases. Well, we hope that all the bases are going to be covered on the day,
and cleared occasionally. Yeah.
And cleared occasionally, and yeah. But speaking about that, I mean, from the Boksburg Cardinals point of view, obviously this is a Gauteng province event. President Dean McKinnon also working closely then with the Cardinals as the host club. So with these events, obviously very important that the provincial structure and the club structure have got a close relationship while they are, of course, busy hosting a South African baseball event.
100%. You know, it's obviously hosted in Gauteng province, so it's predominantly it's their spectacle, and they have to then put the bids out initially to the club structures within Gauteng province, who then have to apply to host the tournament, which a couple of clubs did, and then Boksburg Cardinals obviously got the nod to host this one, and Gauteng province will obviously make the decision. A whole lot of things have to be taken into account, whether with the facilities and the venue and that type of thing, and and then from there, there's basically a relationship gets formed between the Gauteng provincial structure and whichever club has actually got the nod to host the tournament, and then they form a pact to make sure that the tournament's going to be a success, and they work hand in hand and they work in unison, which has been the case this year. And as I say, they've done a great job so far. From the point of having to raise funds, because it costs a lot of money to put an event on like this. From the fact of having to hire ablutions and a whole lot of things, you know, making sure the security is in check, and a whole lot of things become into play. So there is no funding, unfortunately, from the government structure. They have applied to the provinces, well, to Gauteng province and Ekurhuleni province, which falls within the Gauteng province. But unfortunately, their budget has been tied up in other events. So again, we've had to raise the Gauteng province and Boksburg Cardinals have had to raise the money to make sure that the event's going to be a success. There's a lot of fundraising going on at the moment to raise funds to cater for the different facilities that are required. But the guys are working endlessly. The fields are looking great. We're all on track. I think, it should be a very, very good tournament.
That's fantastic. Sadiq Sheldon also joins us. Salam alaikum. Sadiq, nice to have you online. For those of you that are watching us right now, I'm with Paddy van Niekerk, Vice President of South African Baseball, and of course Tournament Director of the coming National Baseball Championships happening in Boksburg at the Boksburg Cardinals in Gauteng, starting on the 1st of April. So if you are watching, feel free to ask us a couple of questions, and we can ask them to Paddy and Sadiq. I'm seeing the comments there, and he says the fields are looking good visiting Joburg over the weekend. So you've got a visitor there, Patrick. Sadiq it looks like he's coming. Let me just be clear on this. He will be going up to Joburg, not down to Joburg. I'm not always sure how you guys figure the hemispheres out, but Sadiq is south of the meridian lines.
The equator. It all depends on rolls with the tongue, eh?
Yes. No, but Patrick, okay, so tell me a little bit about Boksburg Cardinals. I mean, it's critical, obviously. The Cardinals put on an event that is proudly a baseball South Africa event, but the club itself, give me some info of Boksburg Cardinals.
Look, I don't know too much about the history of Boksburg Cardinals. They've obviously been around for many, many years. And I feel embarrassed that I don't know more than what I should know. But the reality is the facility that they've got is probably, I've always said that it should be the mecca of South African baseball. The whole facility hones itself into hosting an event, an international event. We've had the French out here. We've had the UK have been out here as well. British have been out here. We've hosted international events. the way that the club is structured is that we've got a clubhouse in the center of a massive field with a whole lot of diamonds surrounding it. So when you are basically at the top of the clubhouse looking down, you can see all the fields around you. So again, as I say, it's a wonderful club. It's a very family orientated club. There's a nice group of young families that have once again got involved, and that's always what happens in a club. You get young players starting, and then the families and the parents get involved. They join the committees, and I could see that it was evident in the meeting that I attended. There's a lot of parents that are part of the LSC and of the Boksburg Cardinals committee that have got very young kids that are sort of just started playing. When I say 10s, under 10s, under 12s, under 15, so the longevity that those parents should offer the club is going to be amazing, and I just hope that they can keep that going, because, as I said, I mean they are a great club, it's a great committee from what I can see.
Okay, so just from an event itself point of view at the Cardinals, and listening to the input that I've gotten so far from a number of your administrators, as I mentioned, Dean earlier on, Gavin Watkins, Joe has been giving me some information. We're looking at an event where it's 11 days of baseball, the best baseball in South Africa. There's going to be music, there's going to be markets, there's going to be vendors and catering. So the event itself, it lends itself to a tremendous amount of entertainment, and that's kind of what we have gotten to know baseball for. I mean, if you watch anything on baseball, you'll see it's all about the entertainment. It's people watching a game of baseball, especially when we see what's going on at any of the major league games that we see broadcast on TV. It's entertainment from the first minute, probably from the time that you're parking your car to the time that you're leaving. Is that what we're expecting also this April?
100%. It's obviously baseball's a family-orientated sport, especially in South Africa. So I think that's the focal point that the LSC have focused on this year. There are going to be a lot of stalls available, a whole lot of vendors that they've obviously opened up the doors to vendors to say, bring down your little vending, your table, your vending machine, sell what you're going to be selling, make it a family oriented. There's going to be a whole section that's going to be sectioned off for the vendors to do what they do. And then getting back to the fun aspect, the juniors start on the 1st, they go right through to the 5th. There's a rest day on the 6th, so that we can just give the LOC time to prep the fields for the seniors, who then start on the 7th up until the 11th. So it's right over that Easter period, which was obviously family orientated, 11 days of getting together with your friends and family and coming down and enjoying some baseball.
Patty, we've got a couple more questions coming in. We've got a Cisco ZA. Unfortunately, I don't have a name here. It's Cisco ZA says, what is there in mind for fundraisers, and would love to grow the beautiful game in South Africa. Maybe, I don't know if you want to touch on that, Patty, but obviously one of the main aspects of fundraising is creating enough exposure around the brand, around the organization, and bringing in sponsors. I suppose at a club level and a travel level, there's probably some suggestions from you as well. But that is your current mission, right? Is making baseball South Africa the most spoken about sport in the country, with hopefully then corporates come door knocking.
Without a doubt, with all due respect, I mean, I think baseball, for anybody that's even picked up a baseball and a glove, they fell in love with that sport instantly. I've always said that it's one of the very few sports that teaches a kid to use both sides of the brain. You catch with one hand, you throw with the other. Not many sports offer that luxury. Yeah. So, for me, it's about growing the sport. I fell in love with the sport 18, 20 years ago when my kids were little and they started playing. And, still here. And the reason we're still here is because you fall in love with the game because it offers so much. Yeah.
But of course, Paddy, I mean, but from a fundraising point of view, obviously the more everybody's involved in the process, the more people are talking about baseball, I think because Cisco's probably, he's got these are always the kind of questions one gets: is what does one do about fundraising? But it's an all hands on deck scenario. It's something where everybody must be contributing.
100%. And the thing is, even what we do now with and the input and the valued input that you've done with the social media and us setting up this talk show every Thursday night, I think it's invaluable, and that'll just draw people in more and more and more. And if anybody's willing to get involved and they want to get involved, we gladly accept a meeting. Let's sit around the table. Let's see how we can get input from other people out there that can offer some type of sponsorship.
Yeah, I think Cisco, obviously always difficult questions to answer around fundraising. So if you are watching us, but he finishes his he or she, not sure, point there with would love to grow the game of baseball in South Africa. And so that's a fantastic statement to be made. And then the question here from Renee Bart is, Patty, saying, she asked the question, the South African baseball website indicates round robin. Is this happening with the competitions, or are they staying in the divisions?
Okay, so once again, it all depends on the final amount of entries that we get into the tournament. Once we've ascertained how many teams there are per division, per age group, we will then be able to see how many games we can get in the first round, but more than likely there would be 2 rounds. You play the first round and then you play the second round, which will go off into a knockoff situation, and then you have a final game. That's what we always like to try and finish off with the final, because that's the big spectacle, the pinnacle for every age group to have a final. Again, it all hinges on the amount of entries that we get, the amount of days that we've got, and how many games we can actually get into the period of time.
If I recall, are you talking about days that you've got? If I recall correctly, 2022, there was some bad weather, and you gave yourself a spare day somewhere in the line in case of bad weather. Is that the case? Is it too tight?
Yeah, it's a bit tight. We like to normally have a throw day in there, like a sort of a rest day in between both tournaments. But unfortunately, the way that the days fall this year, with us having juniors and seniors back to back, it's become a little bit difficult for us to do that. We've obviously given the juniors the 1st to the 5th. We have got the 6th as a rest day. When I say rest day, it's sort of a clean-up day before the seniors start. You can't really use that going into the tournament, because a lot of people would be booking their accommodation up until the 5th. So we have to kind of make do with what we got in the 5 days and make sure that we can get that done.
So thanks, Renee, for that question. And if you are watching, feel free to throw any more questions in the chat. It's great to have you. So the juniors, of course, from the 1st of April to the 5th of April, the 6th rest day, but really a preparation day, and then on the 7th it starts off with the seniors running through to the 11th of April, which is of course the day of the finals.
Correct.
Yeah. And then Paddy, of course, tickets are available now. It will be available in the next 48 hours or so on the website on tickets.sabaseball.co.za. This is also an add-on feature where people can get their tickets online in advance.
Yeah, look, obviously, and we're trying to make it as affordable for families to bring people down. We really don't want to keep people away because of the price of the tickets. Yeah. So we're really asking a very small nominal amount of 20 Rand per person to attend the event. A lot of that money majority of that money goes to safeguarding the infrastructure while everybody's there, security, that type of thing. The tickets will be sold online.
Another question from Renee. She says, what's the possibility of having night games? That was a great question. Any night games on the cards?
Yeah, very much so. Fortunately, the facility lends itself to night games. The Boksburg Cardinals are frantically trying to, they've pretty much guaranteed us at the meeting that the main stadium, there's a section of the lights that will be repaired. And then they've also, the old parking section where the cars used to park has now been turned into an under 10, under 12 baseball field. And they also potentially looking at having floodlights for that as well. So I pose the question to them as well about night games, because that would also help us with the possibility, if there was a bit of weather issues, that we could fit more games if we had night games. And I also think that night games would be a big draw card to have people down as well. So when I sit with Dean McKinnon, who's going to be drafting up the fixtures, we will definitely look at the possibility of slotting in night games, because I do believe that it will be a big draw card.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it. I mean, it's I think, and of course for the fans that are out there who are not a mom or a dad necessarily, the Boksburg fans, the fans in Guateng, all around the country, it's open season. Come and sit down and watch some good baseball.
100%, yeah. And we obviously still looking at the possibility of streaming the games as well.
Yeah.
That subject has come up, and we again are looking at, depending on how the funding pans out, if we have approached one or two companies, and there's obviously a cost behind doing something like that. So we are looking at that possibility as well.
Another question, or at least from Valencia Brickhill. Valencia asked a question: will there be tournament tickets, or is it only per day tickets? And you want to grab that one, Paddy? I know that you guys have got multiple options.
Yeah, no. From what we discussed, we could definitely have an option of tournament tickets. Because
I think at the moment you've got single day tickets that are selling at 20 Rand a ticket, and then you've got 5-day tickets where you can buy your batch of 5, and then
Correct.
You've of course got the 11-day ticket as well, and single for the finals. So
correct, yes.
Yeah.
So there will be facilities and structures set up where you could purchase a certain amount of tickets for a certain amount of days.
Yeah. So that's great, Valencia. I hope that's and Natalie Feldman joins us as well. She says, hang on, I got to read this. I'm not sure I read this right. Okay, yes, it does start off with Uncle Paddy.
Uncle Paddy. Thank you, Natalie.
All right, all right. I thought there was going to be a question there, but it does start off with Uncle. It's more of a statement than a question. Uncle Paddy, the legend. We appreciate you, from Dale Feldman. Okay, right. So we got. I'm not sure if Dale Feldman, our national baseball player, Homer from Germany, has changed his name to Natalie, or if he's got hold of Natalie's phone and is using it. In which case, Natalie, if you're watching right now, you need to password protect your phone in case Dale gets a hold of it. But yeah, Uncle Paddy. Yeah. So I'm sure Dale and Natalie are watching there. But yeah, nice to see already the conversation has started. We know it started a long time ago, but and both Natalie and Dale from Boksburg Baseball Club, Renee from Eastern Cape, of course, and folks from around the country now starting to have the conversation. I think, Paddy, am I right in the next 48 hours is where it's all going to be determined? The online registrations, of course, have to start now as well. This is another new element that you've brought into the picture, is that you have a registration process whereby your teams list themselves, and then of course schools and clubs players have to be registered on the system before you enter them.
100%, yeah. We obviously trying to build a database of players, and the only way to do that is to make sure that you've got all your boxes ticked.
Yeah.
So the registration process is online. The clubs have to register their players with the districts. Districts have to register the players with the provinces. Provinces then register the players with, say, SA Baseball, and that's pretty much the protocol. It's
a fantastic way to be able to also manage your membership. It's a great way to reduce admin costs, but it's also nice for the official structures, government structures, and corporate sponsors to know that you have a firm hand on the various members and the number of members that you've got in South Africa.
Yeah, and also makes our job at South African Baseball a lot easier at the end of the day, because we are having to report back to the government structures on an annual basis. And if we can make sure that going forward we have a database that is squeaky clean, that we can guarantee them that we are on the button with the way that we've actually formulated it and the way it's been populated, it makes our job a lot easier when we go back and have to report back to the government structures.
And I suppose once the hard work is out the way, which is in the beginning, after that it's easy because your players are listed. Each time you choose a team, your system automatically figures out where that player is, what gender that player is, the age of that player, and your administrators just they don't have to redo any work. They've got the paperwork on the in the cloud, so to speak. Well, yes, in the cloud, it's all done.
Yeah, and the same goes for the officials as well. We're talking coaches, umpires, scorers.
Yeah.
So the whole database is pretty much built up around everything going online. So yeah.
It's quickly just a last question then Paddy. You mentioned now scorers and umpires. That's also a big part of this picture. I know I spoke earlier on about the command center, so to speak, but getting the scorers and umpires prepped. And I think, if I understand it correctly, there's also a general call for clubs to nominate scorers and umpires to assist over the tournament.
So yeah, the standard ruling is that once you have entered a side into the tournament, you have to send the side with 2 officials, 1 umpire, and 1 scorer that has to be part of that team process.
Right.
What happens when they get down to the tournament? Then they sort of form the umpire group or the scorers group, and there are nerve centers set up for the umpires and for the scorers. The umpire, the head of the umpires for the tournament, would then obviously utilize all the umpires that have come forward and offered their services for the period, and they would obviously allocate them to the different games that will be taking place through the day. The same thing applies for the scorers. There's a nerve center that gets run. The scorers go out to the games. They come back. They have to balance their score sheets. They have to hand them into to Les, who's head of the scorers, and to Meg, who's normally the statistician. They then have to populate everything in the evenings while everybody's resting up, and they have to get the stats ready for the coaches for the following day, and they submit the stats at the start of every day so that the coaches and teams can see where the teams are at. So yeah, it's quite involved. Yeah.
And you of course keep storing those stats against those players over history now. It's permanently recorded, which is going to help you in the future with talent identification.
Absolutely. So yeah, all those stats get stored. The selectors that would be selecting squads in the various age groups obviously utilize those stats as well. And yeah, so that's the reason that all gets done.
Okay, a couple more questions. Clifton Barnes asked the question for the ladies baseball vice president. For the ladies baseball vice president, I'm not sure if he's referring to you as the ladies baseball vice president, but for the ladies, does the under 16 fall under the under 15s, or does it fall away? My understanding is there's only under 15s. There's no under 16 team.
Yeah, it's under 15 or under. From what I can understand, is that there's a junior division in the ladies, and then there's a senior division as well. Okay. And I think it might. I think I'll stand a correction, but I think we said 18 and under would be the cutoff for the junior ladies, and then 18 and above would be for the seniors.
Okay.
In the ladies.
Renee Barty's asked about what's the possibility of setting up a QR code donor structure at the tournament for extra funding for SABU. I know that these are all possibilities, Patrick, but one of the things that we're, of course, there is currently the Back a Buddy campaign running that is available now, where SABU is able to run campaigns for your various tournaments. The Back a Buddy is, of course, another fundraising scenario, but there is a suggestion here of using a QR code for fundraising for South African baseball at the event.
I think something it's a great idea. I think we have to look at all the possibilities.
Yeah. And then Nikki Adonis has just joined us and says, good evening, and 18 and under for junior ladies. All right, so junior ladies go in under 18. All right.
I thought,
yeah. Paddy, I think we're going to leave it at that. If anybody's watching right now, it's crunch time. I think on the website, and if I look at the website, and by the way, everybody, if you are with us, let me quickly go to the website here, South African sabaseball.co.za. That's where you can go to. And you can catch all the information. You can find out all more about South African baseball. And don't forget, when you go to the SA Baseball website, go and sign up for Baseball Fives. So, according to the baseball clock, Paddy, on the website, there's 37 days and 0 hours. So the countdown for us. So you've got 37 days left to get your ducks in a row. But yeah,
I can't wait. It's always a great tournament, and yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to hosting the provinces in my region, Gauteng. I think it's going to be a great spectacle. Yeah. So please, guys, get your friends, family down. It's going to be an amazing tournament.
Yep, we're definitely. I think it's really going to be exciting now. Also, to be able to talk about the players, to profile the players, profile the teams. Hopefully, everybody sends their information in, gets themselves registered, and the next couple of days, people can just keep paying attention to the wires.
If
Patrick,
if I can just add in something quickly. I had a brief chat with Mark Moreau yesterday. We're actually meeting tomorrow night. We're going to be thrashing out a couple of things with regards to the Dominican Republic.
Mark's, of course, President South African Baseball.
President South African Baseball, yeah. So, and he sort of also said to me that he's got pretty much confirmation that Zimbabwe are going to be sending some sides.
Oh.
I think there's going to be a senior side. I think there might be an 18 side and a girls side as well, a ladies side.
That's fantastic.
Coming down. I think that's pretty much confirmed. So that's exciting as well. And then we also going to be having some dignitaries coming down from the Dominican Republic that are actually going to be coming down to witness what our baseball is all about, because as we all know that we've signed this agreement with them, and but the basis of our meeting tomorrow night is to see how we can actually start rolling out the programs that we've got envisaged between us and the Dominican Republic. So it's a lot of exciting stuff happening, guys. So yeah, let's hang in there, let's grow this game, and let's play ball.
That's great stuff. Right, Paddy, we know that you got to get some rest on your side before we catch up with you again, so we'll say good night. And for the other folks that are on the other side of the world, we'll say good morning, or wherever you might be. But Paddy, we'll catch you again soon.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Patrick. There we go, folks. Patrick van Niekerk, of course, Vice President of South African Baseball, also Tournament Director for the NBC, which is starting on the 1st of April at the Boksburg Cardinals in Gauteng. Go to the website, sabaseball.co.za. Tickets are going to start opening for sales there shortly. Tickets are only 20 Rand per day. You can buy bulk tickets. It's going to be really exciting. Great to see that some of the Africa teams are coming down, and maybe, who knows, maybe more. We can't wait to see what South African Baseball, President Mark Moreau and Patrick and the rest of their team tell us about the Dominican Republic. We did that interview that you can go to our website and you can listen to that interview with Mark Moreau, the President of Baseball South Africa, where he talks about the Dominican Republic and the relationship that has now been formed as part of the memorandum of agreement between South Africa and baseball. It comes after months of preparation, and now there is this interaction, engagement, relationship opportunity between South Africa and the Dominican Republic, and it's certainly going to see a number of our South African baseball players getting an opportunity to experience the thrills of the Dominican Republic baseball, who incidentally, if I have the numbers right, have more than 10% of the players in Major League Baseball. So unbelievable. And listening to the president 2 weeks ago tell us about the Dominican Republic, says there's an academy on pretty much every corner. So that's very exciting. But the 1st of April starts the National Baseball Champs in Boksburg in Gauteng. Go pay attention to the website sabaseball.co.za and make sure that you look out for ticket sales. So if you are a parent, a traveling official, it's going to be very easy to do. You already know what it's about. But if you have never attended, if you're watching now for the first time, you've never attended a National Baseball Champs, an NBC, you've got to get down there, because the entertainment factor, the value factor from a baseball perspective is quite unbelievable, and you will have a fantastic time at I think at only 20 Rand a ticket, which is unheard of in terms of entertainment value. Folks, that is then a wrap from us this evening. We will, of course, see you next week, where we carry on talking about the NBC. We're going to talk more about baseball fives. And just before I go, big shout out to Americo Juma and Jason Bell and his team, both of them, for putting on the Gauteng Inner City Baseball Champs that happened in Lynn Park last week in Pretoria. Fantastic event. Number of teams coming down, playing under 15, under 12s, baseball 5. So really well done to the guys. And there's of course a nice article on the sabaseball.co.za website where you can read more about the Inner City Baseball Champs and the teams that took part and see some of the pictures. But that's it for us for now. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel, and of course ring the bell so that when we do go live, you get an automatic notification, and you can enjoy more of our South African baseball TV show. Good night.